So Orion and the Dark is an enjoyable fantasy adventure animated comedy movie based on the popular novel of the same name, which has been produced by DreamWorks, and it feels very similar to Inside Out in terms of focusing on emotion-based characters, this time really focusing on fear and how crippling it is, and then eventually how to overcome it. And they are clearly focusing on a really younger audience with this movie, as everything feels very sweet and very innocent, and I really do feel like they could have pushed certain elements so much further. For example, there's no real villain in this movie, which I think is an interesting decision, and I think it's fine, as they obviously instead want to focus on self-discovery and self-growth, but as a result, there aren't really that many stakes in this movie, and when there are a couple of instances where something shocking takes place, it is resolved so quickly, so you don't stay in that tension long enough for it to feel really impactful. Also, on Orion's journey, I feel like it was really interesting as he was depicted as somebody, like I said, that is crippled by fear and is forever in a fearful state in all aspects of his life. And it feels as if he's never going to be able to overcome this. And even when he's on this journey with Dark, which was really, really good, as Dark was trying so hard to help him open his eyes to so many things, but he was still in that fearful state. But then suddenly, he's completely transformed and he's completely over it, and then he can be really brave. I mean, of course, he is still the Orion character, but I just feel like that transformation again was just happening so suddenly and came out of nowhere. And I just feel like from a structural point of view, I just wasn't that won over by this movie, as I felt like the beginning of this film was pretty boring and really, really slow. I feel like the middle was really, really captivating, and I just loved all of the theoretical things that they were creating, as you could really feel that their imagination and creativity was at a peak. But then in the final act, they completely lost me again when everything became about time travel, and I just feel like the way in which they were able to get Dark back was a little bit of a cheat, and I just wish that they were a little bit more intelligent with their script writing, as they could have just explored this in a really cool way. And so I just feel like by the end of this movie, it was pretty anticlimactic, unfortunately, because like I said, they had me in the middle and second act. As a massive fan of both Inception and The Sandman in equal measure, I did love all of the dream aspects, but like I just said, the final way in which they were able to bring the Dark character back into existence, I just think was a little bit of a cheat. But that being said, all of the dream sequences were pretty cool. And I do feel like, this movie is a pleasant watch and an easy watch, and I think it's got a really nice message about feel the fear and do it anyway, and so I feel like it's actually pretty inspiring, especially for a younger audience. If that's the goal that this movie set out, then I feel like they were able to achieve it. Orion, I think, is a pretty cool character. I feel like a lot of people can relate to the fact that, they are really scared of the dark, they are really scared of certain things. I feel like they did go a little bit overboard with this character to the point where he didn't actually feel believable, and I think Jacob Tremblay voiced him in a really cool way, and if you think the voice is really familiar, then he also recently voiced Luca. I think Dark was really, really cool. I feel like he's incredibly misunderstood, and I think he was brilliantly voiced by Paul Walter Hauser. I feel like if anything, you can really relate to Dark, especially in terms of being shunned by people that are really close to you and just feeling like you're always inferior to sunlight. I just think this character was depicted in a really cool way, and if anything, I would have just loved to have explored this character a little bit more. I think all of the supporting characters are really cool in terms of the making noise character, the quiet character, the sleep, paranoia, and of course the dream character, absolutely brilliant. I think the other human characters were fine. I feel like the love interest Sally was alright, the bully was good, obviously the future daughter, the future grandson, all of those characters were good, but they weren't really that fleshed out. But of course the main focus is going to be on Orion and Dark, because of course they are in the title of this movie. So as far as this film is concerned, I did expect a lot more from it, in terms of a lot more shocks, a lot more depth, and a lot more exploration with all of these different characters, and just a lot more awe and wonder. But for what it is and the target audience that it has got in mind, I do think it is really focused and it is really enjoyable, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a solid 6 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Orion and the Dark? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.